Welcome to Catherine's tutorial. In this video, we'll learn about haplodiploidy mechanism in honeybees. Haplodiploidy mechanism. What is haploid? 1 n number of chromosome is referred as haploid. What is diploid? 2 n number of chromosome is referred as diploid. Okay, so this haplodiploidy mechanism we can able to find in some groups of social insects. Okay, here we'll take example as honeybees here. So if you take a honeybee colony, you can able to find a division of labor. Okay, division of 3 different categories of organism where they perform their own function is known as division of labor in case of social group of insects. We'll just see one by one. If you take a honeybee colony, you can able to find a queen bee, worker bee, male, that is nothing but they are known as drones. This queen bee is diploid number of organism, she can able to reproduce, so she is known as fertile organism. Here the worker bees are also having 2 number of chromosome, but they are sterile, they cannot able to reproduce. But here males are having 1 n number of chromosome and they involve in reproduction. Okay, so what happens here? The number of chromosome in case of honeybee. Okay, so the male has 16 chromosome, the female, that is queen and worker bees. Queen and worker bees has 32 number of chromosome. Okay, there is a difference between chromosome number in case of honeybee colony where the male has 1 set of chromosome, the female has 2 sets of chromosome. So 16 into 2 if you multiply, you will get 32. Okay, number of chromosome. So here it is haploid nature, here it is diploid nature. That is why it is known as haplodiploidy mechanism. Okay, so what is the function of queen bee? Queen bee will involve in only reproduction. She will involve only in reproduction, so she is a fertile female where she will reproduce, that is her only function. Okay, the lifespan of queen bee is around 5 years in a beehive. And when you take worker bees, they live for a particular week. Okay, so what happens here? These worker bee does the function of cleaning the hive, feeding the larvae and even the queen and also the drones, and collecting the honey. Even fanning the queen is done by the worker bees. Okay, they are actually sterile, they cannot able to reproduce, they are female. Okay, the next group of organisms are male. Okay, they involve in only reproduction and protection to the beehive was given by the male or drone. This is how the division of labor you can able to find in group of honeybees. But what happens here, if the queen bee dies or if the queen bee is diseased, if there is no queen bee in a beehive or she escaped from the beehive, what happens? There will be a fight between the members of the beehive and there will be no beehive afterwards when the queen bee left or when the queen bee leaves the beehive. So what happens here? The worker bees, the function of worker bees is to feed the larvae produced by the queen bee. So what happens here? If the larvae are fed by the royal jelly, royal jelly is nothing but these substances are secreted from the hypopharyngeal glands or hypopharynx gland present in the worker bees. Actually this worker bee only secrete this royal jelly. They will only secrete the royal jelly. If the larvae is fed by the royal jelly, that will become the queen. If the larvae are fed by the bee bread or wax, they will become the worker bee or they will become the drones. According to recent researchers, there are some substance present in royal jelly which initiates the larvae to develop ovaries. If the larvae develop ovaries, she can able to reproduce. That is what they can able to raise a queen bee. As soon as the queen bee leaves the colony or the queen bee dies, the worker bee feeds one of the larvae with the royal jelly and this larvae will become the queen of the beehive. Okay, so that is what I have told you. The recent researchers have identified that there is some substance which initiate ovary production or ovary formation in case of the larvae which is fed by the royal jelly, that will become the queen of the beehive. Okay, and what happens the worker bees doesn't like even the queen bee dies, the worker bees will not become or will not turn into a queen bee actually. So instead they make one of the larvae to become the queen of the beehive. Okay, and this mechanism, okay, and this kind of social behavior is seen only in honeybees. Okay, and actually they are not coordinate and do their function, but there will be a fight between these group of organisms. When the fight will start, if there is no queen bee in the beehive, the fight will start actually. Okay, so what if there is 2 or 3 queen bees are arising at the same time, what happens here? There will be a fight between all those queen bees and one will become the queen bee of the beehive. This is how they maintain the beehive. It is not actually they coordinate. If there is no queen bee, they fight with each other and there will be no beehive actually. Okay, then this type of mechanism is known as Haplodiploidy mechanism, where one set of chromosome is also maintained and 2n number of chromosome is also maintained in these group of insects. There is one more term we should know. What is kin selection? Okay, what is kin selection? As soon as the queen bee goes out of the colony, the worker bees doesn't turn to be a queen actually. But what happened instead? They find a larvae, they feed them with the royal jelly and they make another larvae to become the queen bee. So this type of sacrifice for a reproductive capability, or when they sacrifice a reproductive capacity, it is known as kin selection to maintain a beehive. To maintain beehive, the worker bees are sacrificing their life, that is reproductive capacity of them, it has been sacrificed and they make another larvae to become the queen bee of the colony, and this type of selection is seen in social insects and the selection is also known as kin selection. Okay, by the next video, we'll learn about genetic disorders in detail. Thank you.